west side of Ventura. So this is what we call the Avenue. It's it's one of the oldest neighborhoods, if not the oldest neighborhood.
Right.
So this was established, back when the oil boom was going on. So a lot of the oil workers lived in this area. Most of these homes are built 1929, 1928, 1930, and they're most of them are California bungalows.
Okay.
But you have some Spanish style homes. They're all
Right.
small though, because back in the day they were building them really small.
Right, and you need to pack more people in, and
Right.
probably we didn't have as much stuff really.
Right,
if
right.
you went that way.
Yeah, closet space is very small in these properties.
I'm sure some of the mansions in Beverly Hills, their closet is the size of one of these homes.
Exactly,
So.
exactly.
But
yeah.
well, let's drive around, talk
Yeah.
about the neighborhood a little bit.
Yeah, it's a cool town. Cool side of town. You can walk to the beach from here.
Yes. Oh, that's
which is
huge, I think.
When you're in real estate, it's location, 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 right?
Right.
It's not the prettiest neighborhood, but it's got
mixed.
culture. Yeah. Good food. Walking distance to the beach, walking distance to the downtown.
Where's the best food place around here?
Well, obviously this is like the taco district is what it's called.
All right.
So this place is Juan's over here, or a taqueria.
Okay.
That's pretty good. And then you have Lalo's up the street. They're actually famous for their
yes.
shrimp cocktails.
I've heard about Lalo's.
Yeah, that's
I've
pretty
not
good.
had a chance to have it yet though, but I may have to.
Yeah, you got to try it at some time.
Yeah.
So lots of good places to eat around here. I mean, the neighborhood is definitely changing.
Yeah. But you definitely see the Spanish heritage here. I mean, with just the way some of the buildings look, and just, the stores really kind of.
Yeah.
But so what's some of the things people would need to consider if they're looking to move to the Avenue? Or getting around this area?
Getting around this area. Well, the cool thing about the Avenue is it's a walking side of town. I mean, you've got little businesses all up down the Avenue. You can walk to the beach. You can walk to the downtown. So anybody looking to go into a neighborhood where they don't really have to drive far to get things, probably this would be a good place to start. And as from a real estate standpoint, this area is more affordable, or at least more than other neighborhoods.
It's a lot more affordable to, if you go to the east side of Ventura and like Oxnard, Camarillo, it tends to be a little more pricey. This is more affordable.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, the market right now as far as your business. How you guys doing?
Rates are historically low still. So that, helps the business a lot, as you know. I'm very busy with refinances. Anyone who had a rate at 3.5 or higher can, if their credit is good, can refinance to a 2 or below a 3, obviously. So that's kind of the business right now. It's busy. I'm seeing a lot of buyers starting to jump back into the market. So I call it kind of like the rubber band effect. We were all kind of
the accordion effect.
Yes, exactly. We're all just kind of at home doing nothing, and houses were not being shown. So everything kind of backed up. So now that things are starting to open up, that's what I'm seeing.
Right.
People are starting to jump back in.
Yeah, I've seen that too, because I get a lot more interest online, especially social media.
Right.
And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head as far as the accordion effect. People are getting back into it. So, and people are all home, so what are they gonna do? They're gonna be on their phones, on their computers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned credit score. What's kind of the base or minimum credit score if you're a first-time home buyer that you need?
Well, first-time home buyers, always in 620 to 640.
Right.
Obviously, the better the credit score, the better the rate is going to be.
Right.
But for those programs, lower scores are acceptable, and you can come in with a very low down payment.
Right. I think that's more affordable to them. Better. It's easier for first-time home buyers to afford it.
Right.
Now we're getting kind of the north end of, I guess, the avenue, if you want to call it.
Yeah, the north end. So here, if you keep going, there's a lot of new construction on the right side.
Well,
so
let's go
new
take
homes,
a look at it.
And it's bigger homes, obviously.
Right.
But they're also on smaller lots.
So you don't have as much of a yard, and bigger homes, smaller yard.
Right.
Okay, makes sense.
And it's a mixed development, so they have townhomes and detached homes in this particular, construction development. So it's definitely growing in a different way out here.
Well, with the new construction, how many homes they're building?
I don't know what the number of homes that are being built over here, but
Right.
it seems like it's a pretty big size project.
They're still building in Camarillo. There's a bunch of townhomes going up near like the Andorra apartment complex, kind of south of the freeway.
Right.
They're putting, I think, 82 townhomes there, and it's just there's a lot. They're putting in a lot more townhomes, I think, because it's more affordable.
Right. Well, this development is called Solana, so that's what it's called.
If you guys want to check it out, go to my link in the comments. Solana.
Yeah. Cool. Good. So yeah, that's it, Rob. I mean, what else is going on with your business?
No, it's been pretty busy. That's one thing like I want to talk to you about is, so obviously rates are super low right now.
Right.
But prices are still high. So how, I've had the question like, is it better, which is better to essentially have a higher down payment or a lower rate? Because like, let's say somebody only has like minimum 3%. Which is better for them to buy now with a lower down payment, or wait a little bit to have a bigger down payment?
Well, like I said, most people who buy don't have a 20% down payment.
Right.
You know,
I mean, it's
especially their
nearly
first
impossible
time.
now.
Yeah.
Like a $600,000 home, you need to have like
$120,000.
Like, I don't know anybody that's $120,000 right now.
I don't either. And so most of the loans that I have are people starting out with a 3% or 3.5%.
Right.
Which is affordable. And what I tell people is, buy or rent, it's the cost of living.
Right.
You're going to have to pay rent.
No matter what, you're paying rent or mortgage.
Right.
Like,
So what better way than create maybe a tax break for yourself?
true. There's a big tax break with it.
And start to increase equity for yourself as well as the property values go up.
Right. Now, what are some of the challenges first-time home buyers have as far as in this market or even getting a loan?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is sometimes the credit and the income.
Right.
One thing that I advise people who are starting to look for a new house or planning to buy a house, don't go out and buy an expensive car. This is a beautiful car, Rob.
This is a very nice car.
But what I tell people is don't go out and buy a new car because...
Right. You don't want to make any big purchases.
No big purchases, because you can always buy the car after you buy the house.
Right.
It won't affect you. You can have a
Right.
house and then buy a car, but you can't do it. Sometimes you can't do it the other way.
Right, because then it's harder to get a home loan than it is a car loan. I
Yeah.
mean, pretty much you can get a car loan no matter when. Like,
Right.
even if you have horrible credit, you can still get one.
You can still get a car loan.
But
But on a home purchase, because there are certain debt ratios that we have to follow, some
Right.
guidelines, we can't put you in too much debt when you buy your house. There are certain
Right.
limitations.
so like, what's the you can talk about like the debt to income ratio, right? Oh, I see the police coming up ahead. Uh-oh. I didn't do it. Like, what's what was I gonna say? The
ratios.
Well, yeah, the ratio, but then also like how much of your monthly income, is it preferable to, how should I put it? Okay, let me explain it a little bit better.
At that price point.
Right, you could be like, pre-approved for, let's say $600,000. Doesn't mean you should go out and buy a $600,000 home.
Right.
That's basically your limit.
You got to be realistic with the payment. What is comfortable for you.
Right.
And then from that point, you build on that, and just realize that first-time home buyers, they're not going to buy the home of their dreams the first time.
No, it's a starter home.
It's a starter home,
Right.
exactly. So that's get to a starting point and get in the market, start building some equity so that you can get to that next level.
Right. No, that definitely makes sense. So let's talk a little bit more about the avenue before we head on back. I know, obviously we're kind of going south right now towards where the fairgrounds is at.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a very mom and pop type area. Like, you don't see the big stores or anything like that.
Yes, lots of small businesses.
How has, we're obviously in the coronavirus pandemic where things are shut down. How has that kind of affected the area?
Well, it has affected the area because, there are lots of hair salons that had to close down. Our barber shop, when we go over here in this center here, they had to shut down for a long time.
Right.
And finally they're able to open, outdoors. So what I try to do is I try to support the businesses.
Yeah.
Whenever there's an opportunity, spend my money here.
Right. I kind of, I agree with you too. Like, spend it in the, small mom and pop shops. Like, if you can afford to go to like a local market, go there. Or, if that's what you want, go there rather than like the big stores, because obviously the big stores are open right now.
Right.
Has the neighborhood changed at all because of like the lockdowns or the pandemic?
It's starting to, you start to see these little businesses get back on track.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned before, this is a walking neighborhood. So when those businesses open, that's when you get the neighborhood walks around and they go down to the local shop. So I think they're not, they're starting to come back, and that's a good thing. I like to see businesses get back on track.
So as we sign off here, what is the number one thing as a first-time home buyer or anybody who's looking to buy, refinance, what's the number one piece of advice you have for them?
Well, I think the number one piece of advice is be prepared yourself for it. Whether it's buying within the next 2 months or buying within the next 6 months, but get started.
Right.
If you don't take the very first step and at least find out where you stand, from a qualification standpoint, credit standpoint, then you're not moving forward. So even if you're not buying in 2 months, at least take that first step.
Right. And usually the first step is
getting pre-qualified. Yeah. Yes.
Now, so just so some reviewers know, what's the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval?
So on a pre-approval, there's more work that's done with the buyer. So you'll have a little more information, such as the source for the down payment. You might have pay stubs and W-2s. So there's a little more that you get involved in a pre-approval.
Right.
A pre-qualification is it's based on information that somebody gives me. For example, a borrower can say, well, I'm earning $50,000 a year, and I can take a look at credit and say, okay, I need to have proof. But if I don't quite have the proof yet for the income, then I can issue a pre-qualification, because at that point there are some unknowns.
Right.
So the pre-approval is really
kind of what you need.
What you need.
Because that's more in depth, runs your credit, it looks at everything. It's not self-reported.
Right.
Now, actually, I have one more question. So I hear a lot from first-time home buyers about getting gifts from like their family, like monetary gifts to help with down payment and stuff like that. What are the rules when it comes to the gifts, essentially? Because that's kind of what they are. It's their gifts to help somebody buy their first home.
Well, obviously, if you're receiving a gift from your parents or family member for your down payment, it can be used for the purchase of a primary residence.
Right.
I think one thing that is important to understand is, from the gifter's standpoint, they may have some tax liability.
Right.
So they need to understand, if they're giving the money away, how much can they give away, and consult with their tax person.
Okay. So there's obviously requirements for not only the person receiving it, but the person giving it.
Correct.
That's something they would need to consult with an expert on to make sure that everything's in line. And that's a big thing, is talking to a professional.
Right. Always start with the professional.
Yeah, absolutely, because that way you're on track. So, all right. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with me, Bert.
Sure, anytime.
We got to tour the avenue a little bit, saw a little excitement on our little tour, but definitely, thanks for talking to me. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, contact him. I'll put his information in the comments, and that way, if you have any lending questions or questions about, anything, mortgage, refinance, anything related to that, go and hit him up. All right.
Awesome. Yeah, give me a call.
Yeah, definitely. All right. See you guys later.
Thanks.